Hi guys! I am really excited about the video I'm making today. This is something that I have wanted to do for quite a while now, and I finally decided to go ahead and do it. Excuse, there's blue streamers in the background because I was hosting a baby shower last week, and I do have my parrot on my shoulder because if I'm not holding her, she will probably start screaming. She's having a rough morning and just wants to be held. So the topic for today is my relationship advice for people who are blind or visually impaired. I have been in 4 relationships in my life. I have been in one very bad relationship, one very good relationship, one relationship that just we weren't really matched for each other, and I am now married to a very, very good relationship. I'm married to a very dear friend from college that we just sort of kept in contact after grad and just really worked out. But in the years that I was dating, I learned a few things, and I'd like to share that wisdom. This is what worked for me, and this is just my opinion. All the disclaimers, etc., etc., and you know the drill. But hopefully, the things that I've learned, if you're kind of new to the dating scene and you kind of want to put yourself out there, these might really help. Point number 1 is, looked at my notes, to pursue the things that you love and to broaden your own horizons. And my reason for saying this is I have seen a lot of times, and not just people who are visually impaired, but people in general, but it seems like more so people with disabilities become kind of obsessed with finding that perfect person in life. But if you've got to be your own person and to find who you are as an individual and go out there and do the things you want to do. Go out and broaden your own horizons. And if there's something that you're interested in, pursue it and just really focus on building up yourself and your own interests. And that's nobody, when people are obsessed with finding a relationship, it shows and it's not very attractive. Point number 2 is don't feel like you have to make up for your disability. Don't ever feel like you have to make up for your disability in a relationship in any way. That is unhealthy, and if someone is forcing you to do that, get out of that relationship like yesterday. You don't have to make up for your disability by compromising in any way. Compromising emotionally or physically or any kind of way like that. And also at the same time, kind of on that same note, don't feel like you don't have to make up for your disability by bragging about the things that you have done. I've seen that too, where people will, I'm blind, but I'm really good at playing the piano, or I'm in a wheelchair, but I'm a really good singer. You don't have to make up for having a disability at all. It's a part of who you are, but it doesn't define you. And so you don't have to make up for it in any way. Point number 3 kind of ties into that. Don't go crazy looking for love. Don't drive yourself crazy looking for love. And it really does come at unexpected times and in unexpected ways. Point number 4 is to learn independence. I cannot stress to you how important this is. Now, I understand there are areas of our lives where we just aren't, for some people, aren't going to be able to be independent. But right now, if something happened to my husband, I know how to use Uber. I know how to use my city's public transit system. I know how to get to the grocery store. I know how to function without him. And I pray to God that nothing like that ever happens, but life happens. And you have to be able to be independent. So, for instance, if you're on a date and things start going wrong, don't rely on that person to give you a ride home. Get the Uber app on your phone, have somebody help you figure it out, have somebody use it, and don't be afraid to ask for help from staff if you need it. Just know your boundaries and be independent as much as you possibly can. Learn orientation and mobility. Get a guide dog. Learn the public transit system. Have someone work with you through it. Take advantage of your school or the Department of Rehab classes, whatever you have to do to be independent because independence is attractive. Nobody wants to date somebody who is really clingy and afraid to get out on their own and learn anything, regardless of their physical ability, you know? And I think that kind of makes sense, but just learn to rely on yourself as much as you can in every way that you can. Point number 5 is to be very conscious of where you're looking for love. And this kind of, I mean, I feel bad about like putting it like this, but be conscious of where you're looking for love. If you're looking for love at a bar, you're probably not. I mean, there's always the exception to the rule, that couple that met in a bar and they're happily married. I do know a couple people like that. But for the most part, somebody that you're meeting up with at a club, they're not looking for a committed relationship if that's what you're looking for. They're probably looking for just a little fling. If that's what you're looking for, great. But if you're looking for something more committed, be conscious of where you're looking for that kind of relationship, which kind of ties into my next point, which is to volunteer and to learn to love giving. It's so important in relationships. It's not all about getting, it's about giving. And the more you give, the happier you are generally. Unless you are in an unhealthy relationship and the person is forcing you to give and is taking from you, that's not healthy. But generally speaking, giving in a relationship is so important because life happens and you are lovers 10% of the time and friends 90% of the time. And if you're not a giving person and the other person's not a giving person, you're not going to be very happy with each other. My next point is to have friends and to have fun, but to not obsess over dating drama. You know, so many times, especially in college kind of groups and even in high school to some extent, people are so focused on like the I guess the term a lot of people say is sexual tension in a group. Like you're just kind of checking everybody out and, you know, is that person someone I'd be interested in or not? Nah, I don't know about that person. Don't do that. Just have fun and have friends and not obsess over that stuff. It's so important to be able to just have fun with your friends, really. And then my last point, and this is so important, I can't even stress to you how important this is to respect your body. Respect who you are as an individual. The fact that you have a disability makes you no less of a human being. In fact, you should respect yourself even more for having a disability because you have learned how to survive life with it. And that's something a lot of people don't understand and don't really grasp of how much work we put into daily life, so much more we have to consider. That's something you should really respect about yourself. And if someone doesn't respect your body and who you are, you don't belong in your life. If they aren't treating you with the respect and dignity you deserve, they don't belong in your life. And just because part of you is not like perfect 2020 doesn't mean that you're a broken human being. It just means that you have a special challenge that you have overcome. And that's something that other people respect. And blind people, the last point that I'd like to make is to trust your gut. And for centuries, blind people have been considered sort of psychic because we are so inept at picking up people's traits and the subconscious things that are happening around us. Trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it's not. You'll hear that everywhere, and it sounds so cliche, but it is so true. Trust your gut. And if something doesn't feel right, get out. But at the same time, there are wonderful people in the world, and that's the last thing I'd like to leave you with, is there are good people in the world. There's a lot of bad people in the world, and there's a lot of people that will take advantage of somebody who is insecure and who has a disability because it will, you know, like I was in some ways targeted in one of my relationships because I was a dependent person, and I did sort of rely on that person to help me get around, and he took advantage of it, and that wasn't cool. That's not okay in any relationship at all, regardless of the person's physical ability. You have to know that there are bad people, but there are also good people. I dated one gentleman in particular. It didn't work out, but I have so much respect for that person because he was an incredible human being and he really helped restore my faith in relationships. And after he broke things off, I started talking to the gentleman that I married, and it just, there are good people in the world. And my husband and I really, we're best friends. We treat each other as equals, and it's not a conscious thing. It just happens. We just click. And I have known some of the most incredible people that I have ever known are the people who are married to blind people. And just trust that there are people out there like that, and be willing to wait and be willing to not settle for less. So, anyway, if you're interested in more content like this, let me know. If you would like to see sort of the inverse of this, or you know somebody who would benefit from having advice from somebody who is in a relationship with a blind person, I'm sure I could drag my hubby on here. He would love to share some insights, and I think you guys would really enjoy hearing his perspective. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. So I hope this helps, just throwing it out there. And if not, cool, go on to the next video. That's fine. I'm not going to be offended. But I hope that you guys really enjoy it. So let me know in the comments what you think, or if you have some good dating advice. I'd love to hear it, and I think everybody would benefit from that. Let's have a really constructive conversation in the comments below. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will talk to you all later.